Hello everyone, I'm back. Today's topic is still Jenkins configuration, but today we're gonna talk about auctions. What is the meaning of auction, or what kind of auction are you able to use in your Jenkins configuration? For example, you want to specify a timeout for your pipeline in order to run in that time. In other case, you can mark the pipeline a failure, or you want to define how many times you want to run a process before to mark that process as a failure, or you want to keep your view really clear with the last no the last five or maybe the last 10 uh, number of bills, that kind of things you can do with auctions. So let's start with the first example. And the first example is the bill discarder. And the bill discarder allow you to specify, actually it's a log rotator. The name here is a log rotator, but it's like a bill rotator. So you can define here with this number, you want to give 5, 10, any number, and then you will see how that works. Let's try to create an example here, a byline for this one. Let's say bit, bit, bill rotator, and let's say, so if I run this one multiple times, it's pretty nice to see. I'm gonna run it 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. So after the number 5, the number fifth that we define, if we run it again, let's say twice, if you run it twice, you will see 6, 7, and then you will keep the last one, the last 5, you will keep the last 5, only the last 5. So that will help you to keep a pretty clean history on your pipelines. It doesn't make any sense to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bills there. Also, when you are using a lot of bills in your file system, you are using space. So it help you, this kind of approach help you to keep your file system really clean. So this is a good example, and it's also a good practice if you want to use it. The second one is disable concurrent bills. So I don't want to be able to run multiple bills at the same time. Let's use the lowest number here, different number to run it fast. Let's create an example. Why I should not want to run multiple bills? For example, you have a release. Um, no, you have multiple bills, and then you say, okay, I don't want to mess up with that bill, or I have a process that have to be run one at a time. So in that kind of example, you can use disable concurrent bills. And then if I run it multiple times, you will see only run once, and the second one and the third one is going to be on pending, putting in the queue. So this is the good approach when you want to disable concurrent bills. And also allow you have an issue with your resource, with your agents, and you don't want to get Jenkins really busy on queue, you can use this kind of example. Let's try to see the other example that I have here is retry. With retry, you can define, for example, if I want to specify how many times I want to the process be able to run before mark it as failure. For example, I have a REST API that I have to communicate, but sometimes I know it fails for a short time. Then I want to retry it before mark it as bill and get everyone scared or being in panic, or you are trying to push an artifact, but you know sometimes it fails, and then you want to retry it. That kind of things is going to help you to this configuration is going to help you with that, with those kind of challenge in your daily tasks. For example, read 3 times, 3 times. It's going to be a pipeline. Just playing with this one. Let's see how this work. Save bill. If we go here, we can see the first one is going to sleep and then fail with an exit call difference to 0. So it's going to try it again, and it's going to try again. It depends how many times you define your threshold for your bill before your bill is marked as a failure. This is a good example when you have this kind of service that are not 100% reliable, but you know after the first or the second time they work, this is a good moment to use this kind of approach. And the last one, but not least, is the how you can define timeout. Um, Timeout is, for example, you want to specify how long how much time your pipeline has to be successful. For example, let's say you have a process that take around between 20 and 25, but you know after 30 minutes something is going wrong. So you can use this kind of behavior. But then you have a release, and then you want an approval for someone in 4 hours. You can define that one and say, okay, you have to approve in 4 hours. After that, we have to do the release again because that release has some kind of but the other example is you have already some kind of token in your package already that is only valid for 20 for 1 day for 3 days. So if you don't do in that specific amount of time, it's gonna mark it as expired, and then you have to do the whole process again. Those are kind of examples that you can use this kind of configuration. Let's try with this example. uh, Timeout pipeline, and then let's play. This one is gonna fail because we are defining our build should be running in 7 seconds, but we define that our pipeline only have 5 seconds. So this one is gonna fail. Let's see what is the message here. The message said it's pretty clear. Um, Canceling nested the timeout. And if we check the timeout here, only run for the 5 seconds. So it's aborted before getting the timeout. These are not the only ones. I will provide this link here where you can see all the options that are different options that you can configure in your pipeline, and just read about it. If you have any question, you wanna see an example, any specific example that you are using in your work, but you don't know how to do it, you are facing some issues, just send me a message or leave a comment in the video. I will be glad to do an example with more complex example. Also, I just want to let you know that it's possible also to define auctions at the stage level, but the only ones available are retry, timeout, and timestamps. So you can define also auctions at your stage for different stage, but only these three. That's Also, let me show you here. Do you remember there's different choices? I will provide this um, information here. Uh, what kind of units are able to use when you are using timeout. All of this information, this one and this one, I will provide it in the description of the video. If you like it, if you learn anything new, if you have, please subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, you need any help. I will be happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.